Hey there, comic book friends. I'm Travis. It's the Comic Book Roundtable. And with me tonight, I have Sergeant America. How's it going, sir?
Doing well, of course, as
Hey,
always, your faithful sidekick and wingman. So, for
nice, nice,
um,
nice can
officially
cozy.
hit that really old age where I'm passing out Werthers to everybody I can. So, if you want, I'm just going to give this one to you.
Oh,
So,
thank you. I
yeah.
appreciate it. Nice, nice. So you were conning today, right?
Yes, indeed. The wonderful Sioux Falls, South Dakota had SuperCon. So I went there with my wife and daughter. We saw a lot of artists that we knew that we really enjoyed. Um, did some shopping, kind of went around, got some great deals. So I was very happy.
Right on. I haven't looked, so can we can expect a video on that.
Yeah, yes, I went late and picked up some things. So
Cool.
um, probably hit Twitter first, and then I'll do a video afterwards. So.
Well, right. Look forward to checking that out. So that's cool. You live someplace that has, basically a local con.
Yeah, and it's I mean Sioux Falls is just under 250,000 if you want to try and calculate that out, and that's counting the little tiny towns that are just about
Sure.
touching us. Though they've been very good with this. I mean, local writers are like Elliot Rawl, artist, or like Doug Mankey. Actually, was here a week ago doing a signing at the comic book shop.
Nice.
I was working, and my shop was really good to make sure that the comic that I bought from them, Frankenstein number one, Seven Soldiers, was able to be signed by them. So,
Cool. Cool. Right on.
yeah.
So that's a con that like Phil Hester goes to every once in a while, right?
Yes, yeah. In fact, the Wednesday Comics podcast
Mhm.
hosted Phil Hester, and so he was sitting right next to their table. So, yeah,
Oh,
I guess for
nice.
those people that are Hester fans,
I like Phil. Even if I didn't like his actual comic work, he's just a good human in comics with a lot of knowledge, and his breadth of love of comic art is pretty amazing. That's a guy. I mean, go on. I'm trying to remember what the website is where he has all of his art hosted, so you can see all the stuff that he's bought of other people's. I mean, like he's got like Kirby workups of like
oh, okay,
Manhunter and stuff. Stuff that's not the
yeah,
actual comic, but just like his notes. I mean, he's got his art
yeah,
collection is amazing.
it is, yeah. Plus, he does some additional artwork, both here at Sioux Falls and then in Fort Dodge, Iowa, where I originally was from. He does art exhibits of his stuff. So, because there's more than just his comic book work that he's trying to get out there. So,
Oh, nice.
and like you said, he's definitely a great guy. I follow him on Twitter. I'm not a big, strong fan. I don't buy a lot of Phil Hester stuff, but I actually just really like him as a guy. I mean, he is a strong human being. So,
Yeah, I actually try everything that he does, whether it's writing or art wise and whatnot. Pretty much, I've been a Phil Hester fan. If you like Green Arrow at all, he's got a really strong run that he did with when they brought Green Arrow back after he was dead for a while. He worked with Kevin Smith and then with Brad Meltzer, and he's got a great art run through all of that. A lot of issues, a lot of issues. Excellent.
speaking of that, did they ever finish that story in the back of Mother Panic on who killed the radio DJ?
Didn't they? I thought they did.
They may have. I'll have to dig back through, but I just realized as we're talking that with
Yeah,
his artwork, I'm like,
they
if they did, that story didn't affect me at all then.
right. It was kind of like I can't remember who they said it was that did it. I mean, they did figure it out. I'm sure they did.
All
But I
right.
remember,
See, I
I, but I
just don't
remember,
feel like
but I
they
remember
did.
it
That's
being
why.
kind of a, I remember it being kind of a, kind of a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, let's talk some comics. We're talking two
All right.
weeks worth of comics. Not this week, so it'll be like the 12th and the 19th of September, which means I've got a sick amount of comics. I mean, this is just the indie books that I have this week. So we'll be on until probably about 4 in the morning with me talking every single page of every one of these books. But but anyway,
Joe or George and Longbox, a thing or two about a long
that's right.
show.
That's right. With their 3-hour show, we'll bust that. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I do
Anyway,
remember that. I do remember that time we did that. That was rough.
yes. That gets long. I can't
Yeah.
set for that long anymore. Old age or
All
whatever.
right.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we flipped our typical imaginary 3-sided coin, and as always, it lands on Marvel. So we're gonna talk some Marvel books first. What do you want to talk? Want to talk some West Coast Avengers?
Yep. Yep.
Issue number
Indeed.
2.
Indeed.
You gotta love a cover with a giant person on it. So yeah, what do you think?
Like you said before, this is the fun book. I picked this up because it's light, it's fun. I originally didn't think I was because of Brodock at the end, and it left a bad taste in my mouth. But then when I read it a third time, and I just let it be, I felt better. Especially after I read this one with how they're using him, that it's like that Adult Swim cartoon late at night that, you don't give a lot of thought to. You just smile and you giggle through it and you enjoy. And that's what this is. It was just a fun, enjoyable read.
Yeah. I think that I think that Kelly Thompson has really good comedic timing. In this, I don't think it gets used as much because the whole thing is kind of funny. There's nothing really serious going on. I mean, everything about the book is kind of a laugh, as opposed to her run on her latest run on Hawkeye, where it had serious stuff going on, and then she would put this kind of humor would show up in it at the right time, kind of thing. But to me, that's what this is too. It's fun. I mean, it's hilarious watching them, shoot basically glue arrows at the side of Tigra's face, and she get ticked off about it and stuff. I know. And yes, I mean, whereas Brodock in the first issue, you're just kind of like going, "Oh my God, this guy is over the top." Well, he's over the top in this too, but now they go into detail the fact that they all know that it's MODOK. I mean, it's like, this is MODOK. Yeah. Who's he fooling? Let's play along and see what he's up to. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's silly.
Yeah, and of course, for me, also the Caselli art. This was definitely what I've been waiting for. I originally was a huge fan of his in the Initiative.
Yeah, it's some good stuff. There she is getting hit with it and then punched in the face.
Yeah.
But
and it's just when I saw that, it was just, the silliness of like the love affair between Quentin and Gwen was, one of those things that, it's like, oh, you could see it a million miles away, but it is. It was just fun. It's the B-rated movie that you get because it's, a cult classic, not because it's a box office, slammer.
Right.
And then I'm very interested. The new boyfriend, I am so glad that they put the names in here. Fuse, Johnny Watts.
Right.
I'll talk about another comic later on, and I'll just forget the names. But so I am glad. I am glad that we get things like this now. I used to be pissed when I had better memory and I knew the story's ins and out, but now I need that. So
I still don't need this splash page. I get what you're saying. The disembodied voice likes the splash page too, because that keeps her reminded. When it comes to comic books, my mind is still sharp, and not be sharp about everything else, but at least it's sharp for that. I mean, I would like these people's faces, but I want the old school. Like, put them over here.
Oh,
right,
okay.
Right.
But I need it with the name. So Fuse, okay. I really enjoyed that he is a good guy version of Absorbing Man.
Yeah,
because there's certain things that you don't see. I remember the Young Avengers when Melter was on there, and he says, "I'm a bad guy. I have to be. I have bad guy powers." Right. When you're Melter, you're not a good guy. And I like that it shows that it doesn't matter what your powers are. It's about the character. And I really enjoyed this. So
yeah. I mean, it's fun. And like I said, I have to be a sucker for the 1950s, giant woman thing. And so there's gonna be a whole bunch of giant people, it looks like, coming in the next issue. So,
and if they're old West Coast Avengers, that's what I'm interested in. Who are they going to pull in?
Oh, you're right. So I didn't think of that. That would be awesome if that's the case. Because
one looks almost like maybe Ant-Man.
Well, and it'd be like Wonder Man in there, and
maybe Black Knight. I was trying to figure out, and I don't know him well enough, but
that would be hilarious if that's the case. Yeah. But anyway, I
do like that cover too there for the next.
Yes, for the next one. Yeah, the art is perfect. I mean, for this type of a book, the kind of chuckle and whatnot, they're arguing over. They watch
Weekend at Bernie's
Week
2.
2. They watch Weekend at Bernie's 2. And Gwenpool is like arguing that they have to now watch Weekend at Bernie's 1 so they can understand the deeper plot meanings and whatnot. And they're like, no,
Yes.
it's not, this is such a horrible movie.
It's not how that works. Yes.
Right.
I do believe, that going very theoretical on a B-rate movie. I like that.
Right. I don't know. I just like, that's awesome. So like I said, I continue to like it. I think that I feel like I am probably missing out not reading Mr. and Mrs. X. Is that what it's called? The Rogue and Gambit book?
Yeah.
That's also written by Kelly Thompson, because I just really like her writing. I figure I'm probably missing out on that. I just, as a stupid fanboy, I refuse to read that because I just abhor the idea.
Who they are, yeah.
I abhor the idea of Rogue hooking up with Gambit. So,
all right, who do you have her shipped with?
I don't know. Nope. See, I guess I'm still so stuck in that era of the 80s when she first came out and she couldn't touch anybody or anything anyway. Right. So it was like the idea of her having a relationship was just pure trauma because, of course, when she was young and kissed a boy and sucked up all of his memories and all of that stuff and whatnot. So, and then I quit reading comics before she got into relationships. I mean, she was still this damaged goods. And so that's where my brain is stuck with her at, I guess. I don't know. I don't see her then.
That's Travis for you. He doesn't believe that there can be any relationships in comics. No marriages, nothing.
Nope. So your life is over as soon as that stuff happens. So for real. Right. So I'm gonna talk a couple other Marvel books because I'm the Marvel boy today, I guess. Yeah. Fantastic Four issue number 2. So the Sarah Pachilli art, I wasn't familiar with it. This is the first actual work that I've really looked at. I know she's famous for like doing what's the Spider-Man? Not Spider-Man. What's Miles Morales Spider-Man, right? Isn't that what she's?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
But I haven't read that, so I really like the art. I like the art a lot. Between her, I don't know. I have to look now that I'm talking about the art to make sure I'm talking about. So, Marte Garcia does the colors on it. So between the colors and I really like it. I really like the art a lot. The art for me, the art was a huge draw. I just love the way it looks. I love the way the kids look, and whatnot. Paneling. It's all really interesting. Now, the actual story itself. So I wasn't super excited by the first issue. This issue is all about the Fantastic Four. And it's actually the Fantastic Four plus because it's the Fantastic Four and a bunch of the kids from the from whatever the FF Foundation or whatever, and it's them going through the multiverse and they're recreating the multiverse. Except they're not recreating the multiverse; they're just filling it out. It's like whatever happened, the whole whatever cosmic thing was going on, it eliminated the multiverse. So they're recreating the multiverse. But really what it is it's Franklin and another guy. What's his name? I can't remember his name offhand. Between the two of them, they'll create a new dimension, throw it out there into existence, and then they'll fly into it and kind of check it out. And then when they get bored with that, they'll create a new dimension. So first and foremost, I'm bothered by a 14-year-old kid who can just create worlds whenever he wants to.
Is it Bentley? Is it the younger clone of the Wizard?
Yes.
From the Future Foundation?
I think so. He wears purple and green and purple. What the heck is his name?
Yeah, I think it's a younger clone of the Wizard. So
right. So that's who's helping him. He ends up getting so in this issue they get halfway through it and he can't do it anymore. Like he stops. He's like suddenly he still has cosmic power, but his cosmic power to do that just suddenly quits. And when that happens, it's like this entity, this pure piece of chaos comes rolling in and goes, ha, now that you can't make anymore, I'm going to destroy them all because that's the proper thing to do. And so it starts consuming all these realities and they're rushing through the realities away from stuff. I don't know. I'm not particularly intrigued by the story still. I love the art, but I'm like, it actually is. They're just kind of cranking out these goofy realities. It actually, as a reader, it bothered me. I'm like, oh my God, they're just, you know, it felt very, I'm not sure what the word I want to use for it, but basically just kind of acting like God just seemed really,
a shortcut to Grant Morrison.
well, yeah, or something. I don't know. It was, I don't know. It just seemed really, I'm like, oh, and so this lady comes along and goes, how dare you do this? I'm like, yay, because that's kind of where I thought too. I mean, Grant, she's the evil person, but it just seemed very presumptuous and very like, who died and made you God to create reality? You know, I mean, you know. So, at any rate, so they get threatened. They're going to be annihilated. You know, it's almost the end, and she's like, Reed Richards goes, you know, if my family was here, you wouldn't be able to beat us. We'd beat you. And the woman's like, ha, okay, fine. Here's this teleporter thing. You teleport your family here, and then I'll kick all your guys' butts. And they're thinking, oh, that, you know, the last issue, that big Fantastic Four flashed, and you know, Johnny Storm and Ben go, oh, they're coming back. No, it's actually teleporting them away, which it does. It zaps them away, leaving the blind woman that's just been proposed to going, Ben, where are you? You know, kind of thing. But he doesn't teleport just them. He teleports anybody who is ever a Fantastic Four member. And he's like, well, when I said family, I meant extended family. And I have to admit, the last page does have me a bit tickled and excited for the book. Because, I mean, you know, it's this last page with, like, you know, it's got Storm in it, and Spider-Man, and Black Panther, and Medusa, and Wolverine. And like I said, literally any Crystal, literally anybody you could name that might, you know, it's even got Ghost Rider.
Spider-Man doesn't count unless he has the paper bag on his head.
So. Oh, okay. Well, I thought he didn't count unless he was wearing that white uniform. Because when Spider-Man was part of Fantastic Four, wasn't a lot of that him wearing the black and white uniform?
Well, there was that, and then he kind of jumped in when Johnny was out, I think.
Right. So, at any rate, that'll be cool if they're all actually really there. That'll be a fun fight just to see that. I mean, I'm a sucker for any time you could put 40 or 50 superheroes on the page at the same time. It harkens me back to the first Secret Wars, because I remember when that first Secret Wars came out, it just, regardless of what the story was, just being excited to see, you know, 20, 30 villains and 20, 30 heroes running around on the comic book at the same time was like, wow. And I have to admit, the covers by you know, the Ribic covers, our covers are pretty awesome. The next one looks really cool because it's you know, of course, got all the Fantastic Four family on there. I'm gonna hang around for a while. I mean, this isn't bad. It's not bad, but I mean, nothing about it has hooked me yet, I guess is the thing.
So when Ghost Rider was there, was that the same time as like the Hulk, Wolverine, and Jen Walters, maybe?
I think so.
She-Hulk's
been a Fantastic Four member a number of times, but I think there was a time when it was that you know, I mean, so. Okay. There's a little bit, I mean, if they're actually all really there, that's a lot of heavy hitters all on the. I mean, I don't know how they're going to fight this person who can just annihilate reality. I don't know how that works, but you know, so I don't know.
Spoiler: if you see the Avengers' newest movie, you'll find out.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's what you wonder about. Like if person's almighty has all the stones, how do you defeat them? You make a workaround.
Right. You look really handsome with a beard and your name's Captain America, right? And then you win.
Yeah.
Because you're Chris Evans. And then finally for my Marvel books is Ms. Marvel issue number 34. Me and Mike talked a little bit about this off air because Mike was saying, gee, you know, he hadn't really heard people talking about it still. I still really like the book. I think it's fun. She's battling the Shocker. He has come to New Jersey because he's tired of getting his ass kicked in Manhattan. So it's like, I'm going to Jersey because there's nobody here to really put up with me. Just this goofy girl. He's messing around with some technology that he doesn't understand, but it seems to mess the superheroes up. So he's cool with that. And what it does is it basically screws her powers up. So she'll shrink to super tiny, out of control, or she'll slowly become embiggened when she doesn't have, you know, at poor moments or whatever. There's an implication in here that because we don't know how her power works. She's an Inhuman, but we don't know how her power. I mean, how if she's gaining this mass, where is this mass coming from? I mean, by practical physics, if we were going to try and use real science, it has to come from someplace. So what she is doing is she is borrowing and reducing her mass from future versions of herself from multiple dimensions. We actually see a point in here where Bruno, her friend, is trying to figure this thing out, and he's kind of looking at this. I don't know. He has this like scope thing that can kind of see a mist of different dimensions, and it shows her like Camilla Khan, president of the United States, Camilla Khan, lover of this Red Dagger person that's from Pakistan. One where it looks like Bruno is married to her, but he's stuck in a wheelchair. So that's all he concentrates on is, oh my gosh, in this one future, I'm reduced to a wheelchair. You know, my life is over. And of course, he has this little sphere that's like a Wikipedia, except it's like a super smart computer, and it's based off of Professor X's personality. So it's like going, being in a wheelchair is not the end of your life, kind of a thing. So, which is kind of funny too. Oh, it's just a fun book. It's you know, it has its serious moments, but it's never, and even its heavy moments are not too heavy. It's clearly a book that's geared for people that are 30 years younger than me, but you know, but still, I just really enjoy it. I mean, she is still the fresh face of Marvel. She's a better Peter Parker. She's the Peter Parker of old. I don't need Peter Parker to go back to that, but it's cool having that kind of a character somewhere in the superhero universe, whether it's DC, Marvel, or whatever. It's just enjoyable to read that kind of a thing and whatnot. And it's like I said, it's a younger generation book. It plays with pop culture. It just has kind of fun with all that kind of stuff and whatnot. So, all right, continue to enjoy it. And the debate goes on. If anybody out there who happens to be watching this show, if you can show me where it says that G. Willow Wilson is leaving this book to go write Wonder Woman, let me know. Because everybody always asks me, Mike asked me off air, so are you going to keep getting the book when G. Willow Wilson's not writing anymore? And I'm like, isn't she? Because like I said, we all, I know a lot of people are assuming that if she's writing for DC, she's not writing for Marvel. But I don't think she has an exclusive anywhere, so I think that she can write both. So I'm hoping she's just going to write both. Because I have a hard time imagining what this will be like without her. I'm not saying that it can't be done. People have written bits and pieces of it, and clearly she's written in Champions, right? She's in that book. So, I mean, I don't know how she's handled in that, but, it's just the little things I think that G. Willow Wilson brings it to that other people may not. Especially when they kind of dabble. It's not, in your face, but, she is a Muslim American, so there's that stuff there. G. Willow Wilson's Muslim American, so it to her it's a natural kind of a thing, versus somebody else would have to do more research to get it right. I would assume, or just smartly call G. Willow Wilson up, right, and go, hey, how do I handle this? If she's not going to write it, that's my thought anyway. So,
do you know right offhand? People that write for both companies or are writing right now for both companies?
Right now? Yeah. Tom Taylor he was, because he was writing both the new Wolverine and of course he's writing Injustice, right? I know for a while Charles Soule was writing both before he signed an exclusive with Marvel. That's been a while back though, obviously now. I'm trying to think. Tom King did for a while until he signed an exclusive. Because
is Lemire writing anything for Marvel right now?
I don't think so. I think the Old Man Logan was his last thing, right?
Yeah, or he's been off that for a while.
Who's writing? Who's writing? Is it Supreme? Is that the name of the book? What is that? What is that guy's name?
Oh no, yeah, The Sentry.
Is he right? He's writing that, right?
Yes, you're correct on that.
So he's writing that, and he's writing, or supposedly writing Terrifics. Yeah. So I mean, there are people that do. I mean, it's a freelance gig. I think Team Seeley is going to be writing something for Marvel.
Okay.
I'm not sure what he's writing for DC right at the moment though either. But so I mean, that's not unheard of. kind of a thing. They just typically, if you're writing for both, you're not part of the architects or whatever the new cool thing they want to call the creators that are helping steer the ship. Typically, the people who are steering the ship tend to be more along the lines of the exclusive people, it seems like. So, anyway. But that's it for me for Marvel books. Marvel news. Daredevil season 3 is out in a couple weeks, right?
Oh, yeah. They showed that Kingpin Daredevil teaser. Yeah.
Yeah, I just started watching season 2 of Iron Fist, so I have to get that done. I actually like season 2. Season 2 is actually pretty good. So far.
I am on season 2 of Jessica Jones, and I'm probably a little over halfway through with that. So
yeah, you got a little kid. That makes all of that stuff hard.
Yeah.
At least it did for me. When I had children that were that age, it was like, forget it. Most of that stuff just kind of went out the door. So
yeah.
I don't know of any other that I can think of Marvel news-wise. So I'll think of it later if I do. So let's talk some DC books. What do you want to talk DC book-wise?
I'd like to talk a little bit of Mr. Miracle then. So
yes.
You got the variant cover too.
Yeah. Right. I've been picking up all the Mitch covers. I'm still looking for a #1, which I know is going to be expensive now, but I want all the variant covers for it.
All right. This is definitely a book for parents. I mean, for married couple, parents, and all that. It's definitely been the growing book from what it has started at to where it's at now. That the argument over how relationships work, and then when the baby was born, and how quickly the baby developed into 1.5, or was what I'm guessing, or
right,
a little over a year old. And then the idea of, can you give away your child to save everybody's life? That was the interesting conundrum we were left with, where they decided they would, and then the result was how they did not.
Right. Epic scene of that I never thought I knew I needed to see, but I'm really happy I got to see. Darkseid eating out of a veggie tray. Come on.
Yeah.
Him crunching carrots for like 9 panels. I mean, yes. Some people would say, "Oh my God, I can't believe I paid for that." I don't know. To me, it was.
Yeah.
Right, Mike's.
And he's a double dipper. Just crunch.
Who's gonna argue with him?
Yeah.
Right. But yes, that is just. I don't know. That's just. There's the swoosh that we had in like issue. I don't know, 3 or 4. I don't know. I love this issue. I loved how powerful it was. I love the, whipping the the baby carriage out and blasting away, thinking, haha, Barda being the badass, and then just getting, and I love, it's not a fight. It's not a fight at all. When Darkseid puts you down, it's just like he just punches you once, and you're just like, you're this greasy pulp on the ground. I mean, because I like that, because he's just so massive and so powerful. I want it to be that kind of a, wreck. So I, absolutely love that aspect of it. Him, pounding on Scott a few times, and just how, and then the whole, oh yeah, like they had it all planned. As brutal as it was, how brutalized they did, they still had it all. They all had it all figured out what was going on, to do the death blow, as it were, in the thing. And I just thought that was epic, though. And the whole conversation afterwards, what the baby's first word's going to be, right?
Yeah, well, you said it too, but it doesn't matter, Scott. You're not allowed to say it. Yes,
right. Fuck. And then at the end of it, when we get the surprise reveal, the baby, fuck. But I have to admit, I know quite a bit of Fourth World and whatnot. I know the character that's at the end of it. So the twist, is it a twist? I'm not sure. I don't know what I'm supposed to make of it. I don't know what I'm supposed to make of him being at the end of it. Where you are is not where you should be, scot-free. I don't know that and this whole kind of cosmic thing that happens, and the few lines that character gives afterwards, I don't. I mean, so it ends with, you know, if the mastermind couldn't if a mastermind couldn't trap Mr. Miracle, you think it's well nigh impossible. Well, you're wrong. It's easy. See how it's done. The completion of the next issue. So I'm now I'm really puzzled because now we're getting to the end of it. My mind is starting to think back on all the little things that we were introduced to, the suicide stuff that he was doing. You know, I mean, that first issue where there's the kid and he's like writing down, you know, I'm God, or because of God, that sort of stuff. That's the very beginning of that joke that the kid is writing down and stuff. Now I'm wondering back on that and going, is Tom King too smart for his own good there, or is there a correlation? And I'm just missing it. I'm not a smart enough reader to catch it. So I'm looking forward to the next issue so I can get it, see what I get out of it in one read, and then probably I'm going to go back and read the whole thing to make sure I didn't miss something. I mean, he's always been pretty good about putting all the pieces together at the end of it. So, but with the end of it, I'm a little puzzled. What about you?
Well, I know the question that I've heard other people ask is, you know, is this tie in with the suicide attempt? You know, is this all the part of the trick with it? That does he go to Sanctuary because of, you know, he was with Barda, he had a child. You take away all the things that gave him hope, and then where does he go if all those things aren't true?
Oh,
and
so
does he end up in Sanctuary, or, you know, because he was on like the cover of the book.
I wasn't. I hope not. I hope that's not a relevance because I'm seeing this as being its own, you know, not relevant to anything else that's going on in the DC universe. So, but I guess that makes a certain amount of sense. So, if this ends with issue number 12, them going, haha, you know, you're near death, you did commit suicide or whatever. This is just all not reality. This is somebody playing with him. That's going to be a bummer, isn't it? But I guess that's a nice, clean way to clean up him not having a kid, right? Because, you know, DC and they're all...
Well, and if they really want it to be super dark, I mean, that's the thing, you know, that do you leave them happy or not? And so, you know, how much of it does tie in? How much do, you know, are they waiting to reset the universes again, or, you know, create multiverses? That's what I was trying to figure out too with that, is what universe are we playing with?
Right. That whole cosmic thing. Then looking at the comments, and Luke's here, Gotham Central, and he says the fact that he didn't read much of the Fourth World stuff, you know, wasn't an issue for him while he's been reading Mr. Miracle until this cliffhanger. It's left him a little confused. And I have a feeling that when the disembodied voice read this, she's really going to be going, who is that? I mean, what relevance are they to anything? I mean, because Luke's read more that has that guy in him than disembodied voice. Because I think that character is in, there were some Justice League books that he was in right there when the New 52 was ending and Rebirth was getting ready to start, I think. So,
well, and I just remember Batman getting his chair. That was the thing where you get the answer about the three Jokers. And when I saw that, you know, I don't know. I could understand all those questions. I do want to say that when I saw them say, remember to grab Batman, he'll freak out without his Batman, it made me think of Luke.
Yeah, Darkseid War. Thank you, Luke. Darkseid War was what the stuff he was in before. So, you know, I mean, I don't know, and I don't know if we're supposed to the stuff that was going in the Darkseid War. I don't know if that has any relevance at all to this. I don't know, because up to this point, I've been kind of reading this out of kind of like the Vision book. I mean, I know it's attached, but it's outside of everything else that's currently going on. So, you know, I hope it doesn't tie deeply into the next stuff, but now you say that does make a certain amount of sense. I love the kid in it. They write the kid perfectly. I mean, you know, his no, and the whole argument, the dialogue between Scott and Barda is just awesome because it just seems very natural. The whole, you know, that's, you know, the baby's, you know, Jack is is grabbing Darkseid by the nose and going, no, 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 no. And it's like, you know, and Scott's going, oh, that's nose. That's him saying nose. But it's like, he doesn't know he isn't. He's just making noises and whatnot. No, he's saying that, you know, and he clearly says mama, mama, mama for mom and da, 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 da for dad. I mean, I don't know. The kid's cute in it, you know. But yeah.
Them throwing references back to when he gets beat down by Darkseid. And I'm seeing this, you know, thinking it's the end. And Barda tells him, you know, scot-free, stand. And then he finally is like standing because his child has come to him. I thought that was a good callback.
Yeah. And, I don't know. And whipping that sword out after the whole Darkseid, you know, because he really can't give the anti-life to anybody because it's knowledge in his head. So instead, he pulls out one of his eyes and gives them that, so he can't use the Omega beam, you know, his Omega beams, which is part of the anti-life equation, right? So of course that opens up a vulnerable spot that they can plant that sword in and whatnot. I'm like, oh, that's cool. That was cool, and I just love that shot of him, you know, him sticking it in his head, you know, basically, and then him falling over and landing on that, and it popping out the backside of his head as he lands on it and whatnot. It's like, oh wow, that was all cool. So I just really like the book. I just, for literature purposes, the way this issue ends, I'm now really wondering what the last issue is going to be like.
Yeah, I guess after Sheriff of Babylon and the Vision, I believe he can end a good story. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I do too. I'm just, like I said, though, with this issue, though, it really had me start turning over some of the little stuff that was at the beginning of that has occurred to me up until this point. I have not connected the relevance between the two. So I'm wondering, you know, am I going to get that or not? So, yeah. Alrighty. Anything else we want to say about Mr. Miracle? No. Okay. What else do you want to talk about? I have a whole slew of books, so.
I got the Wildstorm then also.
Okay. Wildstorm.
This was an interesting story with them figuring out, like, the last person he visits, it's like, well, if you find all the children of these people having alien babies, go ahead and bring them to me. I thought that was not where I thought that was going to go.
Well, I was beginning to wonder. I wasn't sure where that was going. We've had this kind of lingering, you know, side plot line of this guy going and tracking down, you know, this, you know, elite group of, I don't know, super soldiers, for lack of anything called, that have all had alien DNA or whatever artifacts spliced into their bodies, and they've all been like special unit people. Got disbanded a long time ago, and they've gone blown to the four winds. Now supposedly Io is hunting them down, and he's going to all these people, and clearly every single one of them we've seen have had all kinds of crazy problems. This is the most put together of the group. This guy we meet here. But I'm like, what's the point of this? You know, what's the next part of that? I don't know.
I'm guessing it's the alien, because then as they bring in the one talking to Sika, I believe was her name, where she's got the suit that comes around her body. Mm-hmm. That, and it just so reminds me of the book we were reading that John Davis Hunt was doing the art, and it was
Clean Room.
Clean Room, thank you. Mm-hmm. I mean, the aliens seem so much like Clean Room, and then especially at the very end when the serial killer goes to the house and somebody has like laser beams, and I'm just like, I think it's definitely tying into the alien part. So maybe they're going to make all these factions form together against even their own good because they're going to have to fight aliens.
Right. That could be. I mean, that could be cool. I just don't know where I'm enjoying the book. I just don't know. Typically by this point, I have a sense of where it's going. I just don't know exactly what the play is for this, but I'm enjoying the ride. Yeah. Be curious to see.
It's definitely so caught up with the politics that other little things pull us out of that story. So it's, it is. It's tough to say, you know, where this is, where it's going.
Right.
For what? We're on 17 of 24.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's a big world. It's a big world, and there's earth-shattering things going on. and all this, and a lot of other stuff. So to keep all the pieces together is interesting to see. It almost feels like if you spent it feels like we spent a lot of time on this guy hunting this stuff down, and it's like there's all this other really big important stuff happening. What's going on with that? I mean, this is interesting and all, but what's going on with this big picture stuff? So, yeah.
And I wonder if they added this part in to give us a break because the war is coming, or it has started. As some of them have already said, you shot at me, I shot at you. Does it cool down or not? So,
yeah,
it'll be interesting. I think that's why this was added.
Right. Let's see. What else I got that I want to actually talk about? So this is last week's Batman issue number 55. Tony Daniels artwork on it. It's so clearly Tony Daniels. It has the Tony Daniels structure to the comic. You get the first page is a paneled page, and then the second page you open up, it's a giant splash page. I mean, it's just every Tony Daniels book that's Batman, page 2 and 3 is a splash page. I mean, like every single issue of it is a splash page. Anyway, so the issue largely is Nightwing trying to, I don't know, push Batman out of his funk, out of his, post marriage funk. So he's just kind of harassing him the entire time. He's being the old boy wonder. He's like, he's doing as many puns as he possibly can. And he's like, okay, Batman, you be me. You do puns the time, and I will grunt and be sad. And he's like, I don't grunt and I'm not sad. It's just him harassing him the whole time, trying to play games with him, picking on him about, I used to think he's like, you used to call me chum. He's like, I never use the word chum. He goes, oh yeah, you did all the time. And he repeats all those stereotypical chum statements that we're used to hearing, like Adam West say back from the TV show kind of stuff, and then he's, and it's like, and then one of the things is like, hey, wear this bright red and yellow costume, while I hide in the shadows, chum. And then he's like, huh. Then I realized that chum also means chopped up pieces of fish thrown to the sharks. And Batman makes the one joke in the entire comic. He goes, well, you never did used to wash your uniform. So implying that he smelled like fish. But, it's all kind of fun as they beat up random people here and there. And Dick makes fun of everything the whole time. And then there's the bat signal goes up. So they go and they meet Gordon, and Gordon's like, huh, this is like old times, because both of them are there, like the old days. And Gordon's like, we found a napkin at this nightclub, and Dick's like, oh no, Napkin Man, I've never liked him. He's dastardly and all this stuff. And the napkin had, I don't know, had the Joker on it, the Joker written on it, and then the question mark at the end of it was like extra big. So, oh no, it's the anniversary of the War of the Riddles, of Jokes and Riddles, right? Are they, are they back in town, and are they going to cause, havoc? You're like, oh no. And this comic was fun, and the end of it actually shocked me, which is silly because it's so typical of an end of this kind of a comic book. But while this is also going on, there's a guy that's coming into the country from like Russia or Germany or something like that, and he's got one hand that's a hook, one arm that's artificial. He goes into the country, he's supposedly there for work. He's there to, work for rehab people that are, have injuries and whatnot. He gets into the country, he goes to a gun store, and he buys like a super gun, black market, pays the extra money. So it's got this gun. He goes into this building, goes up to the building, whips out the gun. It's some big gnarly sniper rifle. And while Dick is being a smart ass talking about, Napkin Man, and starts to say another pun, he gets shot. I mean, like, and the art for it is really good. I mean, it's like, because it's just like, Dick is just being Dick. They have him perfectly just firing off one-liners and just being, the kind of the goofy, happy-go-lucky hero that he is. And then we get this, they're being a smart aleck, and even Gordon's kind of like, oh God, is he ever going to shut up, kind of thing. And he goes, that's the problem with with Napkin Man. He doesn't just, and then there's this of him taken around, and then the next page is the guy breaking down his rifle and walking away while you can hear over a radio, Gordon, man down, get somebody up, get ambulances up. I mean, I don't know. For being, he's not, I would assume, not dead the next issue, but it was done. The writing and the art was done really well to set that up to make you go, to actually, for me, who's read, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of Batman comics, make you go, whoa, at the end of it. So I enjoyed it.
Yep. So everybody can take a headshot in Gotham and survive, like him and Penguin. But
right.
That makes me feel pretty good about that.
Yeah.
So do you believe it was really Condiment Man at the end?
No.
Okay.
No. My assumption is the only one-armed guy I can think of is KGB's, right? I mean, it may not be him, but that's my first thought. I mean, typically he has that gun arm, but he can't walk into the country, with a gun arm. So he uses a standard.
I don't know. I think Tom King might just be redeeming Condiment Man. You never know.
No, could be.
Bullet was probably made of mustard. That's why he survived.
Oh, so. Yeah, could be. And I don't know that he takes a headshot. I mean, it doesn't necessarily. I mean, but clearly he gets shot. But I don't know. I liked it.
Well, and that's why I dropped off of. I thought it was Tony S. Daniels during Deathstroke, because he shows Deathstroke get a headshot, and it looks like he's loses at least half of it. Yeah. And then he recovers from it. And I said, no, I'm done. I'm done with this book.
Yeah. Along the same lines, Batman wise, Detective Comics, 988, A Simple Murder or A Burning Secret. So this is a Robinson written book. Robinson's going to be on the book for 3 or 4 issues before we finally get the Tomasi book, which is what I'm more looking forward to. It's all right. This is more of him trying to immerse himself in his work to forget about, his being, jilted at the altar, kind of thing. It was okay. It wasn't anything exceptional. It didn't frustrate me like the prior arc of Detective Comics. But it's got Firefly in it. I kind of like Firefly, but we'll see. We'll see what it ends up being. It was all right. Pretty standard Batman affair as far as that goes.
Oh, I did forget. I do have Catwoman also.
Okay.
This is issue number 3, where we finally see Catwoman confront the family, who is, causing her so much grief. Mm-hmm. It was interesting to see that they were doing like drugs in this club, and so it was like a group of elderly people that would do drops in their eyes or tongues. I don't know if it was acid or steroids or what, but then they start beating on her and just start fighting. So it made me think of the Captain Marvel movie clip where Carol punches out the old lady on the bus. So
right,
this was definitely an excellent storyline with that. The artwork in the middle, I was not, of course, as big a fan of, but it was a great way to go into an idea of a storyline where we see the main villain lady has actually, married before, married for money, manipulated, slowly killed off his family with
she's a Black Widow. She's a Black Widow,
yeah.
Right?
All right, thank you. Yeah, slowly killing off his kids, and that with the antifreeze. And then wife, and then seducing him, and then killing him when it was efficient for her. So, I mean, it made for a wonderful backstory, and all that. And the return of Catwoman to the people that help her out, saying you can take in a stray, but you can't love a stray.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying this. Yeah, to get her backstory and then what she does, our villainous. To get her backstory and then what she does at the end of this, because basically her current husband, who is a politician who's retiring because he's got cancer, will fight through this, honey. And she's like, well, you're useless to me now. Basically, she tells him the story of her widow, being a widow, and then basically just gonna do him in too. So clearly she's sinister on a lot of levels. kind of a thing. So,
At the end, Catwoman visits somebody. Do you know anything about that?
it sounds familiar, like I should, like I've read something, but it just hasn't really, it's not clicking yet. So I'm going to have to do some looking around. I'm not 100% sure.
All right.
Yeah, so I'm not 100% sure on that. It feels like that she has a relative, but I don't know that 100%. So
Okay.
yes, but them at the beginning, she goes to this club and they're like, we want you to leave town, or work for us. That's your choice. And she's like, no, I'm freelance. When I'm done with my business, I'll leave. This is how it's going to be. And they're like, oh yeah. And so, yeah, all the little, this is like a senior party, and they're all, like Mike was saying, they're all, taking shots of whatever this is. And then you get that great next panel of them all punching at her, and this old guy's putting up his dukes and whatnot. And, she has some junky tech that she thinks is going to save her. She pulls out, out of her bra, she pulls out these smoke bombs that she can throw down and then like either beat them up or get away. And they fizzle and don't work. And so little old lady bull rushes her and knocks her out of a 4-story window, kind of a deal. So I don't know. It was fun.
Yeah, her landing on that car too. That was like powerful. When I saw that, I'm like,
right.
I thought she was done for, but they're like, oh, she gets up, but she's still in a lot of pain. So.
Right. Well, that's kind of where we get the cover of her
ice bath.
Of an ice bath, because she's pretty busted up. So yeah.
Very enjoyable book. I mean, the art, the storyline is just wonderful. I'm so glad, because she's not doing right now any more of. It's not Hit Woman.
Lady Killers.
It's
Lady Killer.
Thank you, Lady. Yeah. So it was excellent to see that this book really fits in that genre for her.
Right. So I'm still picking up Justice League. The book came out last week. Of course, this is the Legion of Doom issue, so it focuses more on the villains. And of course, it's written by Tynion the Fourth as opposed to the Snyder books. I didn't mind the first one. This one's more, kind of whatever. It has a lot of the Batman who laughs kind of thing. The Joker from our universe absolutely hates the Batman who laughs, and is like, we should not be having. They've got him held prisoner down in the bottom of the Legion of Doom base, and Joker's like, no, I don't care where Batman's from, what dimension Batman's from. You cannot cage Batman. If Batman is still there, it's because he wants to be there, and that bothers me. And so when the Joker is concerned about somebody crazy in the basement, it's bad news. I mean, I don't know the character at all because I did not read any of that stuff. But clearly this, Batman is the Joker, right? I mean, he's basically the Joker in a hardcore S&M Batman outfit, and everybody's afraid of him. I mean, he makes Gorilla Grodd's hair stand at the back of his neck. He is like uber frightening to all of them and whatnot. There's a moment in here where it's Lex Luthor and him talking. And it's kind of a Hannibal Lecter from the Silence of the Lamb moment where, he's standing behind the glass and, teasing that he could give her all, give Lex all that he wants, but he wants something in return, kind of a deal. I don't know. This issue wasn't as good as the first villain explanation one was, but curious. In this issue, they either beat up or kill Poseidon, the actual god Poseidon. Black Manta and Cheetah do. Cheetah actually wrecks him. Cheetah has some enchantment on her claws that she got from Lex Luthor that allows her to kill gods, and she's loving it because this is the first of the pantheon of the people who created Wonder Woman, and she wants to let Wonder Woman know just how bad things are going to get by wiping out the pantheon if she can. So I don't know how much of that story they'll actually play out, but it's interesting, her personal vendetta. And of course, Black Manta's only wish is to kill all of Atlantis, one person at a time, in very slow, painful way. That's his whole. He doesn't care what else happens to the world. Doesn't care about anything else. As long as he's getting what he wants, which is literally to kill every single Atlantean one at a time, as painful as he possibly can, he's all for whatever else is going to happen. If they veer off that course too far and he doesn't think he's going to get what he wants, then he's going to go on his own, he says. I really like the way Black Manta looks in this. The Janin art, him flying around shooting things with his eye beams, and he has two like short swords in each hand that he's just hacking people up. He looks badass in this, but yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, that cover looks superb. And now is it like every third issue, every fourth issue is Legion of Doom?
It's like 4 or 5. It was supposedly supposed to be 5, but clearly this is issue 8, so that's not working out that way. So I think 4, 8. So it's like 3 issues of Justice League, and then we get an issue of this, is what it seems like. So it's not too bad. I mean, that they're kind of a dip. So
yeah, I was really hoping for just a Legion of Doom book, but I guess I will read that on Hoopla.
There you go. So, and you jumped off this, right?
Yes.
Red Hood and the Outlaws, issue number 26, or should we say Red Hood Outlaw?
Yeah.
Or should we say Punisher by another name?
Yeah.
That's what it was. I know somebody will argue with me. If CDC, Comics to Comics, ever watches this, he'll argue with me. Maybe that was the implication on Twitter when I made the it's Punisher by another name. You know, smell just as sweet. It's to me, basically that's what it was. He's on a bus. He's leaving Gotham. He's looking for the whole this drug thing that they were looking for in the annual. He's still on that mission while Roy's off going to rehab. He's pursuing this thing. You know, they get stopped on the bus. They get stopped. There's like an FBI agent wounded in the road. They save her. A gang shows up to try and kill her. He goes out there and kills them all. I mean, almost every single one of them he kills. Well, he kills or he shoves like a baseball bat up one of their butts. Kind of a thing. And then he goes on to this warehouse where the drugs are being made or being shipped out of, and he kills everybody there too. I mean, so he's just flat out killing people. It's no more shooting people in the legs. He shoots them. He beats them to death with a crowbar, and they call it a crowbar in this, not a tire iron. You know, he's embraced being the villain. At the end of it, the FBI agent's like, hey, you know, I shouldn't be working with you, but clearly you can help me get things done. You know, here's my name and number. Let's work together. And he's like, don't you know, you don't want to work with me. I'm nothing but bad news, as he walks off. I won't be ordering anymore.
Well, that's why I jumped off. I was also able to flip through it and see it. But, you know, when the book was being sold, it was the trio, and I was really there for Bizarro and Artemis and him. But
yeah, and no implication that they're in the book at all. There wasn't like any little teasers or anything like that. He made like one comment about the fact that he missed his friends or whatever, and then that was the end of that. They do let us know that you know, Penguin isn't dead, but oh my God, he tried to kill Penguin. You know, people freak out about that. I don't know. I might be more interested in this if the premise of it was done better. That whole issue where Batman basically beats him to holy hell was just so random and so out of place for how the book had been. That, I mean, I get the idea that maybe they think by 25 issues they need to go someplace else with the book. Fine, but the way they got there just to me seems really, really I don't know. It's random.
Yeah,
it's random. So I'm not really digging it. So, any DC news? Okay. Think of any?
I think I think.
I mean, they continue to put out more, they're soliciting more and more of those 100-page giant books for Walmart for people who are interested in that. I personally am not. I'll wait until the little small pieces of original story that are in those come out in some trade on its own, and then I'll check out those stories and kind of you know, go from there, I guess. But I don't know of any shattering DC type news that I can think of.
No.
Okay. So, got any indie books you want to talk about? You're going in and out of me, Mike.
It is. Oh, sorry.
Ah, Realm. No, go ahead. Cool. You're here now.
The Realm. Yeah. So spoilers for anybody who's this is this week's book. I needed something that was like The Dead, but it was Walking Dead. They're in a post-apocalyptic world. Our group, goes through crazy antic kind of things, and that's why I like it. The problem, like I said, was I don't have a cover or heads on the inside that tell me what's going on, so I can't say who each of the people are. But it's just fun. I mean, it's evidently somebody was a rock star who was given some magic power, so he's the bad guy. We have my main hero who has some kind of uh, evil arm, and we're trying to figure out what that means. So I just have to say it's just a good book. So
cool. So those ones I want to check out because I know they'll always release like the first trade reasonably cheaply from Image. So
yeah, and I would say too, it's really strong art. I mean, when you see like I said, very D&D kind of characters, if you like that kind of stuff. Granted, good tropes that you would expect. It works for me because I don't have a lot of books.
Right on. Cool. Okay. Let's see. What do I want to talk about? I only have a couple. A ton. These last 2 weeks were lots and lots of indie books that I really enjoyed. They've been my comics the last couple of weeks have been really, really enjoyable, which is exciting when I can just book after book after book that I'm really enjoying. So first off, I'm going to talk Weatherman. I'm going to talk Weatherman issue number 4. I like the book so much that I bought the Brutal Noodle T-shirt to go along with it. So there's me double supporting the book Brutal Noodles. There's the ad for it too. It's basically a heavy metal noodle box playing a guitar. Brutal Noodles is like a Panda Express. It's a chain store that does noodles that's actually in the comic that they go and visit and whatnot. I continue to just absolutely love this book. I love the visceral art. In this issue, there's a giant, crazy combat scenes and whatnot, and I just really like the dynamics of that. People just get blown to pieces and shredded and whatnot, and that was a lot of fun. The little details about the book, even though the book isn't, I don't know, it's detailed and not at the same time. I really dig it. There's a character in here who's got these tattoos, but his tattoos are it's like a cornucopia. I mean, so he's got a tattoo that is like pumpkins and squashes and peas, and I just think that just seems so random to have as a tattoo. Anyway, Dex, this one main character, I love that shot of him just punching her out, ex-girlfriend. Anyway, so in this book, we've got this character who is the weatherman. They live on Mars. He's the weatherman, and he's the poor guy back here that's being tortured. And everybody is now after him because they have found out that he is actually the guy that planted the bomb that blew up Earth, killing, 33 billion people or whatever it is that were on Earth. And so clearly everybody wants him dead. Problem is, he doesn't remember doing any of that because after he did the deed, he went to this doctor and literally had his entire personality, his entire mind wiped, and a whole new personality of mind put in. So the question is, he's not the same person anymore. Should he be punished for what somebody who he's not did? Of course, everybody thinks he should be because, well, he's the meat body that did it. The woman that you saw getting punched out in this, she is a government agent. She wants to get him back. She actually wants to do 2 things. She wants to drag him back to the scientist who did the mind change to see if they can put the old personality back so that she can punish the guy. And she also needs that guy's personality back so they can find out who the head person is. Basically, it's like a terrorist cult group that really thinks that all of the universe would be better off if humanity was purged from existence because they see themselves as like the scourge on on the universe. So he's about massive genocide on extinction, really, of the human race. So clearly they want to get to him, and to get to him, they need to get this guy put back together again. What's happened right now, though, is third-rate thugs have basically shown up. They've captured the weatherman, and they are selling him online. They're selling tickets to virtually kill him. So they're going to sell tickets so you can log into a virtual system and virtually kill him however you perversely want to kill him. He's worth about 100 deaths before your body just dies because you can't take mentally being killed that many times. So they're selling these like on eBay, kill spots. So everybody's like throwing their money right now is what's happening. So they have to try and figure out, the government's trying to get him back, to try and rescue him so then they can do their own version of torture on him. It's just, I really like it. It's got, like I said, it's got as those of us on Twitter keep talking about, it's kind of a Philip K. Dick style to it. But also a lot of fun. It's got some, comedic stuff to it, some good brutal violence in it. It's just a lot of good stuff. So really like the book.
Blanking on the movie, but it reminds me of the Schwarzenegger one where he goes to Mars and
yes,
he mind wipes him. And
right, that is gosh darn it! Now you said it, I can't remember it.
Put it in the comment.
Yep.
Told you, Travis.
Clearly, I'm getting old. Yep.
Yeah. Well,
let's see. I'm going to quickly talk. Cemetery Beach. This is a book by Warren Ellis and Jason Howard of Trees. Mike, you remember Trees? Remember that book, Trees?
Yeah, I read both of the trades in Hoopla. I really loved it. And so I got really mad when I saw Cemetery Beach coming out and they're not finished.
So after Cemetery Beach is done, they're going back and finishing Trees. I don't know the exact reason why, because I haven't found, I guess Warren Ellis puts out I quit following him to the degree to know what he's doing every second. But he puts out like a weekly or monthly newsletter. And in that newsletter, he talks about the fact that he is, they're going back to that after this. I don't know the exact reason why. I don't know if this was just a burning desire to do this story. This is really cool, though. If you liked Trees, you'll like this. So when this comes out on Hoopla, check it out too. The art in it is Jason Howard art. I really love it. So it's set. The beginning of the scene is a guy is in an interrogation room. He's being interrogated by a guy who looks like a German soldier from World War I. 1920s, basically, is what it looks like. And we find out that they very slickly in the story basically tell us that right after World War I, scientists were working really hard on some quantum physics before they were even called quantum physics. And they found a way to not only fly to the moon, but they found a way to basically go at such a fast rate that they could launch people to the next inhabitable planet. Somehow they came up with the technology to do that. And they did a bunch of exploring, and they found some of these places to send people to. But it's like incredibly cost prohibitive. When you go there, you typically don't come back from it. And we find out that that's where this guy is at. This guy is actually from basically what seems like 2018, but this faraway planet that the people have been sent to that are living, they're still dressed like the 1920s. Right. And their technology has followed a different timeline. I mean, so like they don't have smartphones and whatnot, because he's talking about, you got these little computers that you have in your pocket, and the guy's like, oh, you're talking crazy talk now. But they do have some technology because they're flying around in like these rocket cars and stuff. So, I mean, so they do have higher technology. It just, theirs varied in a different way. So he is there exploring the place. The place has gone rogue. It seems to be that they don't want anybody to know that they've gone rogue, kind of a deal. So this guy's kind of like infiltrating the place, find out what's going on, then he has to try and get back. He's hooked up with another woman that was being in another interrogation room. She's supposedly a local, and they're having to race through. So it's this crazy chase scene is a lot of the book as they're trying to figure it out. But I really liked it. I like the whole beginning, how that whole thing is kind of explained to us. I mean, granted, we have to kind of go, okay, clearly somebody had some brilliant leap of logic that we don't know about to make this thing happen. But like I said, the art is great. It's got some good funny lines in it. You get these great giant scenes of like them racing to this flying car to get on it to race away across this giant cityscape. It's just cool. It's got some, like I said, just super dynamic stuff in it. So I don't know how long it's going to be. I mean, this on the back here, it shows the covers. Here's the cover to 1, 2, 3, 4, and then these are, confidential at this point. So I don't know if that means it's going to be 7 issues or if it's more than that. I have no idea. Yeah, but I look forward to checking it out. I hope they finish it and then they get back to trees.
I do too.
Yeah.
And just remember, we of course could have had space travel like that if we had not faked the moon landing.
I know.
Remember that, kids. The government lies to you.
Yep. Fake the moon landing, and then we just all kind of got fat and lazy instead of creating new cool stuff. So, yeah, for sure.
I was hoping that maybe we could try and make one of these. I want one really bad. Yeah, if you're reading Farmhand, issue number 3. Are you reading this one, Travis?
No, I am not. So tell me what that is.
Well, as you can see here, it is obviously the mixture of a dog and a centipede, is my guess. In the storyline, of course, the main character's father has a farm where he can grow body parts back. But they're made of plants, and then they attach onto you, and then they kind of link into your body, and there's no rejection. And the main character has 2 kids who were working on the farm, and so they're cutting fingers. They had tongues, they had hair, they had to scrape off of melons. And then, of course, since everything is real, one of the places, because they're physical body replacements, there's a melon patch that all the guys like to go in and check out. As you can probably guess what the melons replace. Lastly, we do see that a lady has brought in her dog. Of course, no animals are allowed, but Fluffy Nuts here is her loving pet that she needs to. And they say the reason why not is because if you Nuts goes crazy. So they deal with this monster mutant dog. The kids are okay. The son has accepted that this is just what's going to happen in his dad's life. And keeps thinking there's something, the caterpillar dog is just in his imagination until, of course, saves him. And then we see it go crawling off. And it's just going to be, I'm sure, a returning character. If you've read Chew, I really feel that so much of it was Rob's work here. Rob Gilroy, I believe. Was this, because I saw it and I did not feel like any of that was the same writer. So I mean, starving Chew. But great book. Hoping to go 30 to 40 issues in his notes in the back.
Oh, wow. Wow.
25 to 30. That's what he'd like to do a run of that. So I'm all for it. I mean, to get 25, 30 issues like that, it is enjoyable. It is a fairly, good storyline. So
keep getting it. That's cool. That's interesting to know that a lot of the flavor, not just the art style, but the sense of humor about stuff was him, not Layman for Chew. That's interesting.
Yeah, especially like in this one, you see these kind of things like poop lives here. I mean, these are things I remember from Chew. So I'm real happy with it.
Yeah, cool. Right on. Let's see. What else do I want to talk about? Ice Cream Man. This is Ice Cream Man, issue number 7. This is a variant cover. This is a Fabio Moon variant cover. Ice Cream Man is one of those books I pick up whatever cover strikes my fancy at the time that I'm ordering it. So not necessarily consistent, but I like some of the variant artists. So at any rate, this issue was really good. I love all of Ice Cream Man. Ice Cream Man is this kind of interesting Twilight Zone outer limits sort of a stuff with some the occasional reoccurring elements. The Ice Cream Man being one of them. Is the Ice Cream Man a bad guy, a good guy? In this one, Ice Cream Man is clearly a bad guy. The main thrust of this issue is about a little girl. She's 9 years old. She lost her best friend. Her best friend died of bone cancer, but she keeps acting like her best friend is still there, that her best friend is invisible, or everybody else just thinks that she's talking to a ghost, or they think that she's schizophrenic and she's talking to people who don't really exist, kind of a thing. She wanders off into the forest, basically going on an adventure with her friend. She comes across a shack that she sees as a castle. She goes inside the shack. She runs into the sinister version of Ice Cream Man, not the guy that's nicely selling ice cream. She follows a trail of sprinkles. And when I say a trail, I mean it's literally a path that's like 3 feet wide, solid, like somebody put down AstroTurf of sprinkles that you put on ice cream, that she follows to this shack. Inside the shack, she starts to go, okay, because she's talking about the fact she's not scared, that it's the other princess that's scared, her invisible or ghost friend that's scared. And she gets inside the shack, and there's a guy in there who's missing all of his skin, his genitals, a few other bits and pieces. And she's like starting to freak out because obviously, and the guy's alive, chained to a bed, and just kind of going, because he doesn't have a tongue or anything. And so she's starting to freak out, and walking up behind him is a Ice Cream Man, except he has fangs instead of regular teeth. And he has a potato peeler in his hand.
Oh.
So that is how he's dealt with this guy. It's like, oh my God. And he's like commenting about, oh yeah, that guy doesn't talk very much anymore, but he had a lot to say at one time. And now it's your turn. So the way the story is written, it's got this wonderful art, but there's also this, at the top, there's these little kid drawings that she supposedly has drawn. So you get this cute version, and then you get the kind of creepy version that's going on of whatever's happening down below. And so she's like, she's, here he is with his fang teeth and his potato peeler, right? So, she's like, oh no, you're going to be, I'm going to be thrown in the pot, the evil, the smiling man. She calls him the smiling evil man. And so the little picture is like a little red devil guy, and he's thrown a cat into the pot first, and then he's going to cook and eat them, is what she figures, kind of a deal. And he's all weird. He's all sinister. He's got bug fingers. And then this cowboy guy shows up again, which we've seen him once before. He frees the girl and tells the Ice Cream Man that his day and time is over with. And the Ice Cream Man's like, oh yeah, well, we'll see about that. And then the cowboy guy walks off, and that's it. And you're like going, okay, that's this element that kind of shows up every 4 or 5 issues, but they haven't done a lot with it. So there's more going on, while we get these, these weird vignette kind of things and whatnot. But it's really good. It's really well written. The art is brilliant on it. I don't know. I don't know. This issue really got me. The little girl, because after she experiences this, she's been lost for 24 hours. They can't really report her as a missing person until she's gone for 72 hours. She shows back up at home. They're all happy she's back. We're sorry that we didn't believe you. It doesn't matter. Whatever. Talk to your imaginary friend. We don't care. We just love you. We're happy you're back. And she's like, she's very stoic. And she's like, why did my friend die? Why did that happen? So she's come to terms with the fact that her friend's dead. So I don't know. It was just, despite the insanity of the Ice Cream Man parts, it was very touching and very moving kind of a thing. I really liked it. It had some good words in it and stuff too. But yeah, I continue to like the book just as kind of creepy, like I said, Twilight Zone-ish sort of a thing that just tickles my fancy. So,
is there several short stories, or that's just one story in there?
That's the story. That's the only story that's in this. Other than that little piece with the cowboy coming in and rescuing the girl, which is left over from like 4 or 5 issues ago. Each issue just kind of tells its own story, and it's not the same. Last issue was the Neapolitan issue, and the entire issue was split into the the three stripes, and it was the same guy and this dog, but it was three different stories going on the whole time. So you could just read just the pink all the way through the entire book and get one story, or you read just the vanilla and get one story, or the chocolate and it was a completely bananas, made no sense, crazy alien stuff going on story. So, but each issue, like I said, is very outer limits of Twilight Zone in that you kind of have a narrator or a host. It's at the beginning and the end of the story going, don't adjust your TV set. We've got control of it for this amount of time. And then you get told a story, some kind of weird story that ice cream tends to play some sort of a theme somewhere in it. It's at least somebody's eating an ice cream cone that you're at the beginning or the end of the book. And then it just tells us some sort of crazy something. And then it's done. And then the next issue, it's a whole different story. So, I mean, to some degree, other than the weird little elements that are in it, you could pick up any issue you wanted to read it just for that story in that issue.
All right. That's where I was mistaken. I thought the first issue had multiple stories, but it just had one, and there's just several in each one. All right. With maybe this bigger story that maybe weaved in between them.
Exactly. So I'm assuming at some point that strange, the cowboy guy and the ice cream man fighting with each other, whose time is it now to influence whatever, that's clearly some larger story element that's around this that I'm assuming they will attempt to tie these things together in some way. Or it gives us it gives us a curious thing to keep reading if you needed a curious thing to keep reading. I don't need that. The stories, each individual story, have been solid and entertaining and interesting enough that I don't have to have that, but I am curious to see what that's all about too. So,
all right.
Yeah. Got any other books you want to talk about, Mike?
No, that was my Farmhand was my last one. So,
let's see. Seeds continues to be super good. The David Aja art in it is just amazing. Kind of next level new style. It's not exactly what he was doing before, but something more that's just really, really impressive. And Asetti doesn't get in the way of the book. We all kind of were worried when this first came out because our experience lately with some of the stuff that she's done for the big two has not been strong. So we kind of wonder what this was going to be like. No, it's been great. It's about a world where there's basically a wall, there's a border. I don't know if it's between the United States and Mexico. That's kind of how it feels in some sense, but it's basically a border between people who live in technology with smartphones and social media and whatnot. And on the other side of it is the Luddites. They don't want any technology whatsoever. If you try flying a drone over, they will shoot the drones down. If you try taking a smartphone into the country, they will beat you up, destroy your smartphone. And if you're lucky, you just get thrown in prison, kind of a thing. That's how serious they are about not wanting technology in the place. There's a woman in a wheelchair. She has fallen in love with this guy who's from over the border, basically. He wears a gas mask all the time. In reality, he's an alien. I mean, he looks like a stereotypic alien, big head, big eyes, kind of a thing. And they're dating. He's kind of gone off the reservation from the other aliens. The aliens are there to collect seeds. That's why it's called the seeds. They're there to collect seeds from Earth because Earth is going to be annihilated, supposedly. Even though there's no signs it's going to be annihilated, it's kind of an implication that after they collect the seeds, that the company that the aliens work for will actually annihilate the Earth then, because then the seeds are worth more, right? Because now they're a rare seed because you can't harvest anymore, sort of thing. But there's an implication that maybe this girl that's in the wheelchair that's dating this alien, maybe she has a seed in her now. So they're kind of like, now what are we going to do? While that's happening, there's also an investigative reporter has seen this alien with this woman. So she has snuck across the border with a bunch of technology to broadcast her news story. She is exploring this whole alien thing. So we're going to kind of see where the story goes. It's, like I said, it's really cool. It's really trippy. The artwork in it is really nice. It's a great book. I think it's only like 4 issues, I believe. This is issue 2. But yeah, really cool stuff. Really cool stuff. This is a new book. We'll talk about it briefly. This is House of Whispers. This is issue number 1. This is part of the Sandman line of books. This is the first of the spin-offs beyond the main book. This is supposed to be kind of it has kind of a voodoo feel to it. Louisiana, the South, House of Whispers, a new house added to the House of Mystery and the House of Secret. That, of course, Cain and Abel are in those two. I like the art in it by Dominique Santon. I like the little piece of story that we got in the sampler that first came out when the whole Sandman universe line came. This issue wasn't as strong. It definitely still has kind of an old school Vertigo feel to it, but wasn't quite as gripping as the little piece was. So I'm curious to see what's next. I'll get the book for quite a while. I get a deep discount on Vertigo books, 50% off. So it takes a lot before the book hurts my wallet. So I can ride out it not being, not that it's bad. It's just not the regular Sandman Universe book I like a lot more. That first issue of it was super solid. This one was okay with some odd elements in it. But yeah, so we'll see where that's at. BPRD Hell on Earth, or no, not Hell on Earth anymore. The Devil You Know. This book has all kinds of collateral damage in it. So Mike Mignola has backed away. You know, he was basically, I'm going to retire all of the Hellboy universe. I'm going to go be a painter, not a comic book artist anymore. I'm not going to do comic books. He walked away for a month and a half and immediately went, no, I mean, I love comics. So he's back. So the book is not really ending, but oh my God, this issue still feels like it is. I mean, there are people who just get flat out unceremoniously shot in the head. I mean, it's like, oh, this character's marching along. We've seen this character for years. Bang, dead. You know, I mean, just like that. It's like, what? So it feels very alarming. It's very shocking just to see these, you know, secondary characters that have been part of the book for so long just getting annihilated, you know, kind of a thing. So I just am not 100% sure exactly, you know, where all the book will, you know, will ultimately be at. But I still really like it. You've got the crew back. The main crew is back. Hellboy, Liz Sherman, Abe Sapien. Of course, they all feel funky because, you know, they've all suffered pretty traumatic things. To now be back, the Earth is supposedly safer. But of course, right now, actual demons, devils from hell are now taking over. Whereas those were never really the threat. You know, they were annoying threats. It was that, you know, things man not meant to know. But that stuff's been quashed. So now in the power vacuum, they're trying. Hell is trying to re-kickstart itself because, you know, of course, Hellboy, while Hellboy was in hell, actually killed the devil. And so there's like a power vacuum there. So they're trying to reestablish themselves. And they're actually trying to reestablish themselves on Earth instead of in hell. So, yeah.
So now the thing is we do know that it has continued. The entire series, like you have a number inside that book that tells you it is
157 or something. Yeah.
All right. Do you ever see that he would ever try to restart it all at one again?
No, I mean, so this is number 10. So what they'll do is whenever they get done with this plot line, and sometimes the plot lines are really long. So when this plot line is done, whenever they decide that they're moving on to that, this whole kind of the Devil You Know plot line is done, then they'll title it something else. It'll be BPRD, I Want More Waffles, and it'll go however many issues of I Want More Waffles it is.
Yeah.
You know, and then on the inside, it'll just continue to be 100 and whatever it is, kind of a thing. Right. So, yeah. So that's how, you know, that's how it'll ultimately end up. That's how it'll continue to be told in that kind of a fashion. So, so this could be really long or it could be really short. I mean, in the past, when they were in the old days, when they were numbering this thing, sometimes it was a single issue. Sometimes it was 3. Sometimes it was 14, and then it would move on to the next. I mean, the Plague of Frogs was, you know, 30 some issues. So, yeah.
I just wondered, like you said, after they broke the Earth, after he was going to hell, I was trying to figure out what they were going to do next. You know, like, can you go back to just Earth? You know, that's why I was wondering about that.
Right, and it is. It's just it's an Earth. It's after the apocalypse, right? I mean, they basically had as close to the apocalypse as you could get without actually being truly 100% the apocalypse. And so now they're just trying to put the pieces back together. The governments are broken and fractured. they're trying to mop up the crickets, the aliens that are the things from in the earth that are still kind of the lower level things. They're still roaming around. They're still mowing those down. There's crazy cults have formed all over the place. They're trying to clean up that stuff. And of course, these actual elements from hell have broken loose, and they're trying to deal with that too, kind of a thing. So, and they've really got themselves in a pickle, because in the process of thinking that they've killed off these demons, they have, but those demons were actually like linchpins holding the door back from a greater evil. So they beat up these demons and devils that they need to beat up, but they unbound an even worse and older entity is now rolling forward. So it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't, kind of a deal, and they're suddenly finding out. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Days of Hate. This is issue number 8 of 12. Continues to be really, really good. Whereas last issue was confusing. There were people suddenly with other people you didn't think they should be with. They're basically spies. So now it makes a little more sense. They're just setting up more and more energy, more, the Homeland Security, head of Homeland Security is just more and more diabolical, more and more sinister. The people that he's against, who we could call the good guys, because of course they're trying to stop, racism, xenophobia, and all that kind of stuff. But they themselves resort to, levels that you wouldn't consider okay unless you were in war, but questionably, are we at war with ourselves, kind of a stuff. Really, really good, really, really dark, and just super depressing most of the time. It's a good book, but it's a book that you just kind of go, wow, this is not a happy story in any way, shape, or form, but an informed and interesting story. So Headlopper. This is the new Headlopper. This is the latest story arc. This is volume 3. So it's issue 1 of 4. So like I said, this thing gets put out quarterly. It's they do a year's worth, and then they move on to another storyline and whatnot. It is quarterly. It's a $6 book, but it's like, I don't know, 70 pages or something like that. It's a big, thick thing of wonderful Headlopper-ish kind of stuff. Our main character, Headlopper, is a little messed up at this point. He has seen enough stuff. The last arc ended kind of a depressing way. A lot of his friends died and whatnot. So he's in this new realm because the booze is really good, basically, and he's just kind of drinking himself to a stupor every night. So stuff happens around him that's kind of forcing him to be out of his stupor. He's kind of sick of the head. We get to see some Agatha the witch. We get to see some of her before her head gets lopped off. She's a cranky old biddy the entire time. There's like this world, the age of witches is coming upon them, and they're going to come out of they're going to be able to come out of their caves and walk amongst men and be all happy. And she's like, no, I like living in my cave. And she's all cranky and whatnot about the whole thing. And somebody attacks the witches, Headlopper and a whole bunch of other people back in the past attack the witches. All the witches get annihilated, basically, except for her. She gets her head lopped off, but she's still alive. So she's happy in one way because she hated all those witches who wanted to be free and out in the open and not living in caves, because that just sucked to her. So she's happy about that, but of course she's also disgusted because she has to hang out with this stinky, never takes a bath barbarian, which is really annoying too. So there's all kinds of fun elements in it. Just a fun book. It comes out just often enough to be for me to be a joy to read. Great artwork. I like the format, so it works for this. That might be it for. I got a lot of books I could talk about, but those are the ones that really struck my fancy. So
all right. Yep.
Yeah. I can't think of any other news or any other great whatever that's happening independent wise or whatever.
No.
Yeah. So thanks for coming in, chatting with me, Mike. Appreciate it.
Yep.
So I don't know. Maybe we'll be back next week. I have no idea. I did get my comics. I got my comics today. I haven't done a video on it because I haven't been on the busy side, but I'll do that. But I do get my comics. My comic book shop course, I get my stuff through Discount Comic Book Service. They moved back to the original town that they were in. So they tried Memphis for a year plus or whatever. It just never worked out. They couldn't maintain quality employees. By the time they get somebody trained up, they would quit. As everybody knows, for the past year or so, I've been complaining about their service, that our service has dropped dramatically. So they just finally decided, forget it. And they're moving. They literally moved back to the exact same place they were in. They're rehiring a lot of the great people they had there.
Okay.
So, because I never had a problem. I mean, there were rare occasions that I had a problem. Something might happen, but I mean, that's out of like once out of 52 weeks, I would get a problem with my comics. So I don't know. I had more problems than that when I ever had my local comic shop. So, yeah, I'm excited for him to be back. So hopefully my comics come quicker because the post office in Indiana works better than the post office in Memphis. So hopefully I won't have problems with that aspect of things and whatnot. So, and I'll go back to having good service as far as that goes. So, oh, I forgot to talk about this. I set it off to the side.
Oh,
so of course the infamous Batman Damned, with the new, not that impressive new Batmember that's in it. The book is like going for like $40 to $60 online right now because, of course, no new printings of it's going to have Batman in his full glory in it. Let's talk beyond that because, I mean, that's there, but he's just naked. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, he's just a naked. It's not like he's doing anything with it, for it to be scandalous. I don't get the whole editing it in the future thing. It makes no sense to me. The art is brilliant in it. It's Romero art. If you like his painting and whatnot, it's just super excellent. The Joker has supposedly been killed. Batman was beat up so bad that he can't remember if he did it or not. John Constantine shows up to kind of try and help him out, to try and maybe work out the kinks to figure out what's going on, because the Joker's body disappears. He goes to the morgue and never makes it there. So now they don't know. Is he reanimated walking around? Dead Man's floating around in the comic book. So you'll see Dead Man in the background possessing people. And when he possesses them, I would show you, but I don't want to hurt the pristine book. Because, now I can sell it for a mint and send my children off to college and pay my mortgages and stuff. Actually, I'm just worried if I open it up to the wrong page, then they'll flag my video. But so Dead Man will be in people, and this version of Dead Man, he can only be in people for like a few minutes before they reject him. They get sick, they start throwing up and whatnot, and it throws him out of their bodies. So the way the art is, I'm gonna see if I can find it. I'll open it up anyway, even though I don't have my gloves on. When Dead Man slips into their body, it's like they get these like extra veins and stuff in their body, on their faces and stuff. So they go from being looking normal, so you can kind of tell, oh, that person's possessed or whatever. So here he is shifting in and out, Dead Man shifting in and out of a body. But see how this woman here, she looks like extra veiny and whatnot and strange. So while he's possessing them, they look all gnarly. And then after they cough him out, then they go back to looking, smooth skin and normal. I like those elements. It looks like there's somebody in here who might be the embodiment of the Spectre. So there's all these supernatural elements floating around besides just Constantine. Clearly, if this woman isn't Zatanna, she's somebody who kind of resembles that anyway. I just really like it. Like I said, the art in it is outstanding. Here's this guy I think is, to me, seems like very Spectre-like, yelling and screaming at Gordon and telling Gordon that what has happened in a kind of a crazy sort of a way, and don't let the bat get me, and all this stuff. And I don't know. I really like that. They're kind of going back. Of course, you can't tell a Batman story without doing what? Going back to back in his history, kind of thing. And they're not retelling the whole alley thing, but kind of like his fear of bats, some of that stuff. The Enchantress is in this. She kind of like creeps out of nowhere, out of his shadows in the back of his mind when he's like a little kid. She's like in the background going, I know you, Bruce. I can help you, Bruce. I can help you through this, Bruce. She's really freaking creepy through the thing. She's like hunting around and behind this, trees and whatnot. And just she's kind of a strange element. But at the very end of it, it's like he's a kid. He's remembering somebody like in the corner of his room, like, oh no, there's a bat loose in his room or something like that. And he's getting all freaked out. So he stands up to see what's in the corner, and it's the enchantress in the corner there, and she's playing with a bat, and she holds it up right in front of his chest as a little kid. I don't know. There's just these great kind of elements. I really liked it. I really liked it a lot. You know, penis or no penis, it had some good stuff in it. So, but I look forward to the other ones. But like I said, I mean, for my 2 cents worth, why make a Black Label book that's supposed to be rated R? It's supposed to be adult, and take out something that isn't even vulgar. I mean, unless you're just that pent up. I mean, it's a naked person not doing anything. It's not like they have him doing anything other than taking a stroll through the mansion in his birthday suit. Whatever. So, anyway, now I'm really done.
All right. Well, I'm ready to duck out. I hear my daughter crying. So,
Peanut needs some assistance. So, we'll let you go. Thanks again, Mike. Till next time, everybody, have a great one.